Okay, hello. My name is
Hello.
Batrakov, and with me is Francois Jung. So, Francois, maybe you can tell few words about yourself.
Yeah, I'm working in the field of communication in Switzerland, indeed, uh,
Uh-huh.
where we have many languages and many cultures. We say cultures really, and we are helping business about communication, global field of communication. That means digital,
Okay.
all digital communication media you can imagine, and. Yeah, and the question of blogging is quite important. I will tell you why.
Yeah.
First of all, I said many culture and languages, and my English is very poor, so I want to apologize
It's
for
okay.
everybody. I will try to do the best, but I know my English could
It's okay. It's
enhance.
okay. We all have might have a different languages, and I myself I have a different language. I just want to say a few words. So when we starting now, so this is the recording that recording we're doing the live recording for the one main topic about the blogging. And luckily, I have an access now that we have sign-ups of the people on the Blogly, and I'm lucky enough to meet so many interesting people who I want to bring in and share their experience. So this is the whole concept of this kind of interview is all about. And Francois, you can go ahead.
Okay, but what you want me to begin with?
Yeah, actually, let's begin with something that one of the things that today is the question is okay, blogging is kind of maybe some people may think it's a little bit like outdated. Is it really a blogging a thing? Is it really needed for do I really need to do the blogging if I just say running a business? Okay, that's the like a primary question. Why do I need the blogging for?
Well, there are many reasons, and it's not dead at all. Uh, I think the first thing to say is that, as you mentioned, is it dead or is it reborn? That there was a way of blogging before, and this is the past, and now we need a new way of blogging. In fact, first thing you might know, of course you know, but people usually don't, that more than a half of people going on the internet are looking for blogs, which is very, very, very strange for a lot of people because really, when we think blogs, we are thinking about our, I don't know, grandson going for a week or a trip somewhere down
Yeah.
in Australia, I don't know, and talking and sending photo of kangaroos and things like that, which might be fun, but just for a little bit. Usually nowadays, people are not looking for blogging for that. They are looking for blogging to have not only information, but I would say kind of training.
Yeah.
I hesitate about education, but training for sure. It means that they are looking for specific content, and this is something very, very important. We will talk about it later.
Yeah.
It's something very bad to have the feeling that you just read 10 times the same sentence, the same idea. This is very bad.
Yeah.
So people usually are looking for genuine content, and they need it, and they need it as something free, mainly free.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
you could have some exception, but usually it's free. So it means this is a basic concept in communication, is that when I come to you, what do you give to me first?
Hmm. Hmm.
So, for example, we know that for video, you have two kind of video. The one who says, "Hi, I'm the best," or "My product is the best. Come to me," which is not only boring, it's strangely stupid. So, the question is, why do people do things like that? The second thing is, well, before I tell you what I give you, I will already give you something. So you have, we in French we say this is education staff. I prefer the didactic term. It means whatever, whenever the time, even if it's a short video, you will learn something.
Yeah.
And now in blogging, you have more or less the same idea. The only thing is that in video, why do you look at video? Because you want to have an information right now,
Hmm.
something very simple.
Yeah, usually it's
Uh,
video. I think like for people with a
mhm.
lot of people with ADD, they want to get in, they want to now right away. Yeah,
Yeah, and it is important. It is absolutely pertinent, legitimate, but sometimes we want something more. We want not only more information, but a more complex information. And the way to have that, uh, and the video is might not be the best, and talking, which is fun,
yeah,
might not be the best neither, because
yeah,
you have with the text that fantastic thing that you can go up and down and come back and so on. So in fact, this is something very important with blogging. And we noticed for some three, well, more, but at least 3 years now, that people are looking for quite long
yeah,
text
yeah,
content. They need long content, but we can talk about it. But at the same time, they need short time. So,
yeah.
but it's not opposite. In fact, we can do both. And I think what I've been, I must say here, I've been trying to everybody. I've been trying Blogly. I love it, and I think
Thank
this
you.
is one of the things that is very very interesting. Is that it lets me uh, write something quite big and cut it in shorter text, plan it, and so on. So I think this is exactly what. Sorry, I don't find the word in English, but it is what we need. It means we need long text, and at the
Yeah,
same time we need short. And well, we will talk about it, but we can do with
yeah,
this with it. So this is, I think, this is the most important thing to say with blogging.
yeah.
Um, I could tell more, but maybe I'm not
Ellen?
talking all the way, so I listen to you
No, it's
too.
fine. That's what I stumble my from my personal experience. Like I said, I've been doing for years already, developing the different apps, and the primary reason why I couldn't get the running some apps because I just didn't have a traffic. So I just realized I need to bring the traffic to my site. Only then I can sell. And I started looking at the blogging and I realized how difficult it is. It's not about writing. It's not just okay. I can put some, take some notes. I can write. It's not about that. It's just about the whole complex thing comes together with writing. So how you write, how you store the material, how you do the research. I do a lot of times. I have like 100 tabs open, and it's difficult. And then you do the research, and you need to save it. You need to put it everything in one place. You need somehow write effectively and actually using the best expression in and use some of the quotes from research, which sometimes is not easy to find. Sometimes it's just difficult.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, and talking about research, this is something very important because, in fact, a lot of people think that genuine means writing something that has never been written and
yeah,
never
yeah,
make any references. In fact, it's not the opposite, but a little bit. It means first, the best paper you can make, when we are not talking about academic paper even, but it will be the same, is to say, okay, this one wrote this one wrote that. On the blog, you can give links, which is so precious, but at the same time, you can give everyone its word. You don't make it yours, which is very bad. This is
yeah,
something very important. But you can give more information. For example, the simple perspective, comparing someone who has been stressing this point and the other one is underlying that one,
mhm,
is very interesting. It makes everything more valuable. And to do that, you have to make this research. You have to make research, have find a way where to put it, write about it, and of course avoid any plagiarism. I say, of course,
yeah.
I
Now,
would love
question
it
about
would
that.
be, of course,
Question about
yeah.
that. The amount of the content has been written is what's the you see the competitive like how you can actually compete with all this content out there. To me is my view, and I just want to know your view. My view is just one way to compete, just a single way I'm seeing to compete. Of course, you gotta be informative. You gotta bring in everything else. You gotta bring as much information as possible. But one more thing is must probably the most important thing for me is originality. You have to put your own kind of tweak on the sentences and just saying from your heart what when you do the genuine, people can see it through. Could you tell me, am I right or wrong?
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. In fact, it's you know what is interesting is always to know where from the person you are reading is writing.
Hmm.
For many decades now ago, I coached a woman who wrote a fantastic book, really,
Hmm.
about what happened in a building.
Hmm.
Uh, but she was a little bit ashamed from where she wrote, so
Hmm.
she was hiding who she was, where she had the information, and so on. And we made quite a work together up to the time she could write, I'm the how you say in English, concierge, gatekeeper, or something. The
Gatekeeper.
person
Yeah, yeah, you
we
could say
have
that.
this
Yeah.
in Europe. The person who is taking care of the building, who is uh,
You could say
cleaning
it.
and
Yeah.
everything, and that person is living inside the building in Europe. So I don't know about America, but here she's living there. So it means that person has a lot of information, so accurate, so fascinating, but it was, I would say, 10% of its interest up to the time she said, "This is who I am,
Hmm.
and this is where I have this information." And what she wrote was so great and was really a success because it was fascinating. So I think this is true for every one of us. We are not saying the truth, we are not revealing the truth
Yeah.
and big things. We are speaking from where we are.
Yeah.
And this is why it's of value. In fact, the less we are, the most what we say is important and it has
Yeah.
value. So it's exactly, I think it's another way to say what you said before. Exactly, I think.
So originality is the something that you can compete with. You don't compete
Yeah,
with the because yes, you can agree. There's tons of information out there. Is just okay. You take in the you look in somebody else's road. You're just trying to. I mean, kind of when you just putting it together. But if you don't put your heart in it and you don't make it as original as yours, like you have to put your wording must be there, like from your head, from your heart, and then people can see it. And that's the only
yeah,
one way to compete. People can read you and they can associate and relate to you. So because that's the only one way I see.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating way.
But
Uh,
let me ask you
yeah, so,
one thing. Uh, what do you think of? Because I know you have a degree in what psychology, right?
sociology indeed, sociology.
Sociology. So from
Yeah.
that perspective, tell me, what's the difficulties coming from any person? Because I mean, when I start writing, I know my flaws and my my downsides. I know, oh, it was hard. When starting out was hard because there was so many things that stopping me of doing it because I think, oh, I'm not good enough, or maybe I just don't have enough English because I'm not a native English speaker. So when I start writing, it's like, oh, you worry about, oh, people think I'm stupid. And that thing is bother me so much that I always refrain. Oh, Jason, I'm not gonna do it because and then you keep fixing. It took one post. It took me like a month. I keep fixing, just trying to perfect it so people don't see who you are. And you know what? At the end, I realized that's not really my writing, and I realized it's somebody else probably. I kind of already some another person who is writing. So now I'm not afraid now to put it out. But you tell me from your perspective, what do you think? Is this like a common thing between people?
Well, usually yes, and I would not say, I would say it's, well, I, besides sociology, I study and I have a degree in applied linguistics and teaching communication and so on. So I think I would mix the two approaches. One thing that is very difficult indeed with the writing process, whatever writing process. There are many aspects. One is everybody's afraid not to be interesting and so on, like
Yeah.
my gatekeeper and so on. But the main thing is this one dimension. it's one dimensional. I don't know if my English is the right
Yeah.
process. In fact, when you are thinking and when you are talking, we are constantly jumping from now to before, behind, left, right. We are talking, we are thinking like goats in the mountains. I mean, and really jumping like that. But when you are writing, you just can't do that. And if you want to, if you don't have any technique, it will be a problem because it will stop here. Because you feel you have to say something very complex with many dimensions,
Yeah.
and everything is connected to something else, and so probably you don't have one, neither two, three, four, but five dimension, and you just can't and say that's what I wanted to say before, and so on. So in fact, to make that, it implies two kind of things. One, I'm afraid, is a little bit linked to the mastering of the language you are speaking with.
Hmm.
If I was writing in English, it would be so difficult for me. But the second thing is to have a tool. It means if you really think you have to write as your reader will read you, you're totally wrong. Your reader usually will begin in the left upside and going down the page.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, yeah,
It's
and if you want
skimming, right?
yeah, and if you want to write that way, it's very difficult because you are in a unidimensional
Yeah.
process. But when you are writing, you are not doing like that. The second thing is, for example, very important. Usually, the first thing that your reader will read is the introduction,
Hmm.
and he should finish with a conclusion, or whatever the word you want to use.
Yeah.
Usually, when you write, you better do the opposite. You begin with the conclusion. So that's
That's
better.
right.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I wanted to lead you. And so,
Exactly.
so in fact, we are not following the footstep of the reader. Whenever we want to do that, it's so impossible somewhere.
Yeah.
It will block all the process. So when you are writing, if you are writing with your hands, it might be quite good to have a big table, a lot of little papers, maybe post-it or something like that
Hmm.
on your wall, and you put IDs, and you can change the order and so on. So that's the kind of things we need when we are writing with a computer.
Hmm.
And you have some application, for example, Words. Well, I make advertisement, but a lot of people use it as a writing machine. But indeed, you could use other aspect, other way. And usually on the internet, if you are writing blog, it's very difficult to take a text from Word to bring in and so on. So that's why we need something that let us cut. I
Yeah.
don't know if cut is the right word,
Yeah.
but sequence little things, change the sequence easily, and come back and put little IDs and so on. So
Yeah.
we need something that let us, I would say, complete our little goats in the mountain psychology. Yeah, I don't know if I'm clear, but this is
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is the
Yeah.
basic aspect.
That's why when I designed the start design on a Blockly, at first I was just thinking to organize it in the blocks, and actually the whole basis of the Blockly are blocks. So everything consists of blocks. That's the smallest like entity, but it's like totally independent, even though that's puzzled together into one article. But even
Yep.
I can reuse the any blocks like notes are the blocks, anything inside the blocks. Even the research doc is it just one single block. Even though we allowed break it up after, like we have a splitter there that it could show you in the table of content in the research. But yes, the idea is this: you don't want to create like huge one piece of article that have
Yeah,
no
yeah,
like
yeah.
breakdowns, and you cannot do that. So you try to keep the blocks as what do you think of the block size should be? I mean, roughly.
It's difficult. The main question I had when I tried Blogly, my first question was, oh, blogs are great.
Mhm.
It would be maybe better to make under blogs or sub blogs. I don't know what the
I
word
will
would
have
be.
them, by the way. I will have them. It's coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming
And
up.
well, that's interesting. But at the same time, I was thinking, would it make it too complex? And I don't know. But I think, well, I'm the kind of man who would subdivide everything. So,
But
so maybe it's too complex at a certain time. But I think to have this ability is a very good idea.
yeah.
Really. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, this it's not gonna be like a sub blocks. It's gonna be we will create annotations. But I'm too far ahead because we're working on the like researcher side. We will have researcher documents. For example, you now can upload any article with like in 2-3 seconds, any article, right? So, but when you import the article by itself in Blogly, it's gonna stand out as like an article, even though it's not yours. Now we're gonna do it opposite. We'll give you the ability to import the article into assets, and then you
Yeah.
will see them in the assets, and you'll put the Google Docs in the assets. You'll put the article, and also we'll add the PDFs. So PDFs are mostly, I heard, they're used by researchers, and I know
Yes, of course.
there's lots of PDFs. So we're gonna bring the PDFs where you can highlight and annotate, and those the ones will be article. Now speaking about that, so let's go back in the organization. You tell me how
Yeah.
important to have this organization, because when I was running this, you can tell I was running crazy when I was using the Google Docs. It's just not giving me enough of the like kind of a control over my information. I try to put
Yeah.
information together, it's just not giving me enough control. What your thoughts on that?
You mean just about the on the just what's exactly your question?
Yeah, the question is, how important to you the organization of the say your notes, your reference material, your libraries, your files that you store and everything? Can you?
Really, it's the main axis. I mean, if you have this, you can write very complex things.
Mm,
I if you don't have, you're stuck. I mean, it's just without that there is no writing. It's very very difficult. It means,
yeah.
of course, you can do everything. I would say inside your brain, but then it means you're a very brainy one, which is not the case for everybody. And even then, it's not so easy because you get everything in your brain, and you need to put it down somewhere. So the most ability you give to make that, the most people will be able to write. In fact, the only thing they have to master then are things I don't think you can help, but we could imagine a help, additional help. This is
Mm,
something
like
else.
what?
Maybe it's a good idea indeed. With I don't know, in French we say connectors, but all
Mm,
these things that but in French we have so many mais, cependant, toutefois, and so on. We have many aspects, and with these things you can write the basic structure. It means not the blocks, but inside the
mhm.
the sentences. And I think if you could find a way to to find a way to help with that, it would be so great, because then the rest is already there, and I'm sure you will enhance it even
Mm,
much better with the time. So yeah, of course, it's the basis. It's what we need, because really you can write big things with small things. And I would say that I was saying before, there are two from the communication point of view. There are
mm.
two things important. The first is people are looking for longer and longer text. The longer the text,
Yeah,
the best it is.
yeah.
And so on. But at the same time, they are looking for very short text. And what is interesting is that it's not opposed, indeed,
Hmm.
because you can write a very big text and send it with little parts.
Hmm.
So I know you are working with this agenda thing,
Hmm.
and it's exactly part of it. What's more, what we can add, it's very important, a very basic principle in communication.
Hmm.
Usually we say, I will try to say it in English, the highest frequency, the highest, what kind of word can I find? The highest traffic yeah, the highest frequency, the highest traffic.
Mm-hmm.
It means you, and not only highest frequency, but a very normalized
Mm-hmm.
frequency. It means if I write a part now and another tomorrow and another after tomorrow, and then I wait for a week, that's very bad. No.
Yeah.
So
You
I have
need
to have a
consistency,
strict,
consistency,
yeah,
right?
consistency and high frequency. It means
Yeah.
instead of giving one big article, if I can divide
Once a
it
month.
in
Yeah.
whatever 10 parts, and 10 parts, let's say with the Google 800 words, whatever
Yeah.
ID for SEO, whatever you want. But then when it's done, people can download the whole things, all parts.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is really the main thing, and what seems very opposite for a lot of people. Well, now people are looking for shorter things. Yeah, they're looking for shorter things, and they are
Yeah.
looking for longer
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
So it's not opposed, indeed,
I think.
and this is very very important.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
I know this for a fact. Google, of course, looking. I mean, the ranking much more. I mean, they give a lot more rankings to the higher volume of the content. So there is a more. The more words you have, it's not necessarily like a. There's automatically you get this, but definitely it's a ranking factor where I mean
yeah,
the thin articles like 500-600 words they don't do much. They don't have enough weight. So basically, just started reading, you don't have enough money, you cannot put in everything there. So what the
yeah,
people are looking for mostly, what I understand, they're looking for like condensed information as much as possible in one place. But at the
yeah,
same time,
yeah.
like you mentioned, they need a shorter versions,
Yes,
summaries, right? So basically, if you got the summary, one summary, that's one thing. You want the summary really short, like 10, 15 sentences of one thing, what is there. And also you need a long way you can always reference and say, we can find pretty much anything there, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
that,
Or you can think it as chapters, and in fact, chapters are very good not only for the reader
hmm
but for writer, because it will oblige you to think with a high structure, and then we could say the same: the higher the structure, the better the reader, uh, because it really goes together, and
hmm
so you can think with chapter in mind, and really really it's important.
yeah. What do you
And there
think
is a
of?
lot of things to say
Yeah.
always for any subject.
Yeah. What do you think of this? Like, I know the summary sometimes people think I spent so much time writing all this, right? And they put long text. I mean, everything is there. But now, summary. Summary is like kind of condensed version of what you have there. Now, they're both good and they both need it. Now, what do you
Yeah.
think of the possibility? What do you think of the possibility of using the AI? And by the way, we are already having this algorithm sitting there ready to release, but we kind of aimed it for the research docs. So research docs, we aimed at the Google algorithm on the AI. We bring the shorter version, like if you wanna say 10, 50, say 10 sentences. You wanna say 10 sentences. The structure. I mean, I wanna like summary of short version, 10 sentences of structure of your article. You can get it like within a 30 second. But how do you think is this one would work? Would the people would they like it to put it in articles and say have the AI generate you the summary, or because I'm not sure how important it is as far as generation. I'd rather not to bring it in because it seems like Google kind of spinning, and I'm totally against the spinning. So Google like spin, but if you just consider this is just a summary and you want that AI help you, we have that capability. So basically, you just run it, and it just brings here's my summary and the summary for the article we can generate.
I don't know. I would differentiate the interest of the reader and the writer. If it's only for the reader point of view,
Yeah.
to have a summary is very precious.
Oh, it is. So
Yeah,
it's a
and
good to have summary also
yeah,
together with that. So you want to read like short version, long version, right?
yeah, and what's more, we are working. I'm part of a foundation working with artificial intelligence, so I know a little bit, and
Uh-huh.
Really, the progress are fantastic. So
Oh, yeah.
I think it might be good, but I would take the writer point of view, uh, and then I would advise to make it in another way. Uh, and both are okay, but it's this idea. Whenever I coach anybody, if it's for public talk, for training, I train trainers,
Mm-hmm.
or for texts when they are blogging, or mainly newspapers, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I always tell them two things, and one is very close to a specific US trick that I love a lot. I will tell you. The first thing is, whatever you want to try, if the people here living, if they are living, what should they living at uh, any point, they will know one thing, and which is that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't know that, your writing will be very chaotic. It won't be good. So this is not for the reader, it's for the writer, it's for the
Mm-hmm.
talker, it's for
Mm-hmm.
the you have to know, if they get bored at a time, or if they read their phone, which is legitimate, everything is legitimate. What will they go with? If it's only one thing, then this one thing, let's divide it into three, but not more. And I discovered in US, especially, for example, with the lifetime deal access and so on, there is this very US way I love. It's this TLDR, too long didn't read.
Yeah, 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 I
I,
love
I
this.
I just love that. It's just great. And usually it's 4 points. And I thought, okay, always say five, 3, 4 is okay. But
Yeah,
I
three,
think
four, no
4 is
more than
just
four.
just the limit. So really, it's one thing and three. But whether they have to get out with one thing,
Yeah.
which is it? With three, which is it? And if you are beginning your paper with that, even before putting the first writing, then you're right.
It's interesting.
So I would say again, the summary is something like the conclusion. It means,
Yeah.
after reading that, what should I know? And when you do that, you would not write inconsistent thing,
Yeah.
and not pertinent one. You
Mm-hmm.
you would stick to what is very important, and that's why I would say, from the point of view of the writer, I would not say, okay, let's go for AI, because it will not
Right.
help.
Right.
Well, for the reader, it's okay, maybe, but then
Yeah.
probably the paper is not good enough.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, you get my
But
point.
TLDR, which is too long, didn't read. At first, when I
Yes,
saw
it's
this
great.
abbreviation, I just kind of puzzled. What is this? I get it underneath. I can see 4 bullet points, and AppSumo is pretty good about that. Just
Yeah,
put
yeah,
and if they force you to say just those and that's it, you're just using that just one sentence
right.
each, and it's so short, but it's bullet point just right. You know exactly what it is. You know what's why, and now it will pique your interest. Then you go. If it
Yeah.
doesn't, okay, you don't spend your time, right?
And you could do this too long didn't read for every chapter. I said thinking chapters. So
Ooh,
I think you could do for every chapter, indeed, too.
do you
Really,
think
it
this?
helps the writing.
Let's say in a blog, let's say if I use this, can I force? I mean, of course I'm not gonna force, but let's say, can you create, let's say,
Offer.
first block, say instead of introduction, or say second block after introduction. Let's say you do the introduction first, second one TLDR, and we can even say, you name it. Okay, what
Yeah.
this article is all about? You just put it in the 4 bullet points. What's the TLDR about this article?
Yeah, and the idea behind the TLDR, really love that. Too long didn't read. I love that so much. Uh, the idea is,
So
what's in it
smart.
for me?
Somebody got that.
Why, yeah, why should I give even 10 minutes of my
Yeah.
lifetime reading you? So tell me.
Yeah.
And I think it's a very I love that, because it's contract. it's a mandatory, I don't know how to say, way of
Mandatory.
writing.
Mandatory.
When I write things, okay, I will take some hours for that, but it's my life after all. You are writing my text. Why?
Yeah.
I think you should be entitled to tell me, well, Francois, it's very nice, but I lost half an hour of my time.
Exactly.
I'm going to sue you.
Now. Yeah. Exactly.
Well, of course, I'm kidding here. Nobody sue anybody. It's really American way, but there is something not
Yeah.
wrong. Why should I give you my time? So when we are writing in that way, I think it's yeah,
Yeah.
it's a high respect.
Yeah. I
It's a high
think.
respect.
Do you think I'm talking about now TLDR? So you just gave me a really good idea. So I will introduce maybe a special block TLDR. So it's not really forcing, but it's gonna be part of the structure, maybe every article, and I think it's really good. So now, thinking about this, you think that you can, let's say, somebody writes the content, they think, oh, maybe TLDR is not needed because I'm gonna bring in somebody, let them read it. But I think it's wrong from two perspectives. First, if you bring somebody who reads the article and at the end is they don't know what let's say it's not exactly what they want, and they wasted so much time to get to the end just to find out there is nothing there for them, that's even worse, right? So you do it better give them what the article is about, why they need it, and what they're gonna get, what kind of benefit they're gonna get from that, and that gives the perspective to the reader. And if they not interested in that, if they leave, it's fine, it's great. At least they're not gonna get pissed off at you, right? For something that they spend so much time reading and they get nothing out of it. So, right?
It's yeah, exactly,
But at the
exactly.
same time, somebody who really wants it, and you just maybe they don't want to read the long eye, but they say, oh, I don't know what it's all about, but I just don't have a time. You miss out the opportunity of getting this reader and maybe pick him the interest up front and say, okay, this is gonna talk about, this is what the benefit you get, and now you read it, not read it, but at least you can save it and come back. You know this is exactly what it's all about. So it gives the actually double benefit. You don't waste somebody time, and you don't get upset user who is actually never comes back and actually tells that's maybe like some kind of crop there. They don't go there. So you would rather do it up front. What you are talking about? What's the benefit for the reader?
And in fact, that is well, original is a little bit tricky, but it's the main object, the main point, the main goal of introduction and conclusion. For a lot of people, it turned like something out of school, but that's really a pity. The point is when you are reading books. Well, I will give an example. Some years ago, I made a research for, since as a sociologist and specialist in education, I made a research for an institution in Geneva about I don't know how to say it in English, I'm sorry, le management prévisionnel des enseignants. How we will manage teaching human resources for the next decade and so
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
So, and I had very short time to do it, a month. It was very crazy. So I found, I searched, I found, I read so many books and articles you just can't imagine. And when you find a right article, it's great because that person tells you in that place who we write this for,
Mm-hmm.
uh, who is it for? Yeah, what's in it for me if it's interesting and so on.
Yeah,
So I have this information so quickly. Then you go to the conclusion and you see he said, okay, we found this and that and that. And if I want to read that
yeah.
article or books, worse, you go in the whole process, but at least you know what it is for and so on.
Sounds
So, but a lot of articles are not written that way, and you have to read a long
Yeah, just
number
to
of
find out
pages.
just to find out you
Yeah,
may not need that, right?
before to find. So, in fact, if you read from time to time, it's okay. Well, when you have very short time to read a lot of article, then you realize what's the point of introduction and conclusion.
So you do
It's very,
recommend
very,
you do
yeah.
recommend me to set the separate, whether I call it TLDR, or
Yeah.
maybe I can put but it's not the summary. Maybe I can just name it as a TLDR, and maybe part of the article I can always ask you put this and this bullet points in, and I will insert it in front of the article. So table of content is not the same thing. Table of
No.
content is just table of content. Because I'd always thought, oh, table of content is good. People seeing it, they kind of get it, they don't. So table of content is different.
Yeah, but what you say, let me think something else. What would be? Well, it's just a une piste track. I don't know the word. I'm so sorry, but let's think. What would be interesting is to say, okay, this TLDR,
Yeah.
some bullet points, and then to say, okay, how will you structure this to talk me about? And if then I put other points, bullet points, whatever, and this turns into chapters, it would be very interesting because it will help people to not to learn structure. Maybe they were learning after all, but they will be helped to structure. Because usually this is the main problem for a lot of people. It's they are not used to write more than, well, sometimes one page, but more than 3 pages. And if you want to really write, what becomes tricky is the structure. So if you can help with the structure, saying, okay, too long, didn't read. What is it?
Yeah.
What's the aim? What's the goal? Where are you going? And the second thing is, what's the way going there? This would be quite interesting, I think.
You know what? I will do it. Then I will definitely implement something like this, because it just before the meeting I didn't think about, because this is something you come up right now. I'm definitely gonna do it. So I'm gonna put TLDR, and I will introduce it during the article. I mean, as soon as they put the name of the article, I will ask them the very second step. I will ask them, okay, fill in your TLDR. Why you writing for? Who is it for? What's the benefit? And that's at least 3 things that has to be there, right?
You know, as you said before, we should not oblige. So if you offer it as a model or something like that,
they can skip it.
I'll give a skip, and then you have the structure. And someone who wants to write very freely, okay.
Yeah, I'll give a skip. So, but definitely. But at least it's not like enforcing, but at least putting routing people to the proper structure up front, right?
It's kind of writing coach.
Yeah,
it's very good.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that for sure. So you give me another. I already have like, I don't know, maybe 15 ideas sitting there. I already have some design already done for them. Like, for example, one of them is related to this one. Like, people ask, oh, I don't want to go like block by block putting in, right? And then just more. Instead, I can just have one view where I do all the blocks in like creating my outline, and then just click OK, and it's there. So I'm gonna implement that. So it's already coming up.
Good. This is very good.
So tell me now, just another question now. How hard for you sometimes to stick to the specific topic? You know, sometimes we start writing, and all of a sudden even though sometimes we have a rough outline, and we drifting away, and we go in from that subject now it becomes like grown into the something else, extra being added. So do you think it's helpful? Is it okay? Or maybe just have to be some kind of a discipline if you stick into the subject? Because of course you can go off on this way. Or how do you do this kind of, I mean, when you write, what you stumble on?
Well, I'm writing with many pages, and sometimes it brings to a technical memory problem. So, but in fact, I'm trying to be careful. I don't know how to say it in English, but to be very attentive, attentionate. I don't know the word.
Attentive.
The fact that I have. I'm leading 2, 3, 4 different ideas. So usually I work with many pages, and I put not to lose it, but not to. I think for a lot of people the problem is that we have good ideas. At least we think we have good ideas at the side. After I don't know.
Everybody has a good ideas there.
Yeah, and we don't want to lose it. So since we are with one page, we put everything there. and this is the beginning of the disaster. So the point is, I think for myself, if you ask, I work in two ways. The first is many pages. So whenever I see, oh,
Uh-huh.
this should be from another subtopic, I will put it on another page. Second thing is, I avoid uh, I avoid the formatting. I avoid the text as long as I can. This is what I have always taught my students to say. Think of your text as if you are making jam or something like that. You have your fruits, you have the sugar, you have different things. Whenever you begin to cook everything together, it will be so difficult to take something apart. So try to put the cooking at the very last time. It means put your ideas, but please don't put any connection, the less as possible or apart, and then you can move things. Because really, when you begin to write, it means to make, formatted. A writing is a formatted product,
Mm-hmm.
which makes its value. But at the same time, when you are writing, you are mixing. Honestly, if you are really writing with your heart, you are mixing your brain and your heart. And your brain is something, your heart is something different. And when you're beginning to write, I mean to make the formatting, then this is your heart. And you cannot tell your heart, wait for me, don't go too fast. You are going as fast as you want, and you are writing. Of course, this writing, it's good to have a look at it tomorrow when you have slept,
Now,
because your genius from yesterday you think is quite poor sometimes, but at least you have written, but you have separate the heart from the brain.
yeah.
Mean the ideas are apart. If you are writing all in once, then good luck to take something apart or to bring a little bit more of something else.
Yeah.
Your text won't fit. It's not okay. It's not okay logically, and it's not okay in the tonality.
Yeah.
So I write a lot with bullet points. Every time I see I'm writing on 3 lines, I say, oh, don't get for a fourth line. It's
Oh,
much too
really?
much.
Interesting. So you're
Yeah,
going with the more like bulletized first, and after that you're just trying to merge them together, right?
and after I write, and really when I write, well, I'm quite lucky. I think I write as I breathe, so it's very easy. But if I write at the first time, then it's awful. It's
Yeah, yeah,
very
yeah.
bad for
So
everybody. Uh,
it comes to the point. That's what I wanted to ask. Say, how
yeah,
far is it? Let's say when you put your first draft, I mean draft, to call draft, say the first version, right? Your first version, how far it is from like what you think it should be perfection? Is still like something somewhere in between? How close to it? Because per book of I mean I read one book that's really good. Is Anne Handley. She has a really good book. Everybody Writes. It's a really good book, well written. So she says that her like version when she puts out the first one, even though she's really good writer, she puts that first version. She said, "I don't want to even look at it." She rewrite it after that, and sometimes rewrite it and clean up because she's saying
yeah,
editing. That's where you're like you're saying formation coming in, right? This is while you start editing, right?
yeah. But really, if my metaphor is not too much, I would say version 2, 3, 4, 5 are heart version. And really,
Ah,
if you have to modify your brain aspect inside, you can, but it's more
but to me is that
hard.
sometimes I'm perfect. I'm perfectionist from inside, but I cannot wait until the end of the like until I finish. So I started writing the sentences as I go, and sometimes I
We
spend
all,
too much time on this rewrite until I get the block almost pretty much perfect the way I want.
but it's not bad. I back to the time I had really student for that. I told them about version 0, and I said, really, for a lot of people, in order to find the idea, and because we want to express or whatever, let's go with the version 0. Uh, but this is only for you. Nobody should ever read
Right,
that
right, right. Exactly.
because
That's for
it,
you.
it's nice. You have pleasure
Save
to
it
read.
in
You
your
need to
album,
do
right?
that. Yeah, but when you read it again, you're happy nobody read it but you. So just go for version 0. It's okay.
Right.
Now, really, then for me, it's brain and bullet point, and then I try to write. I mean, go with the
Yeah.
heart. And if I realize that really, if I realize that what I've written, I missed many important aspects,
Uh-huh.
every time I don't follow my own procedure, I regret it. And my own follow would be just throw everything out and make the brain version again. And then you rewrite again. And when you think, oh, but I'm late, my text is not bad, I will just add this and this and that. Really, it's not a good idea. Really not.
Hmm.
So for me, there are really times,
Wow.
steps.
So you basically like every block you kind of rewriting from scratch again,
Yeah,
looking at your
the,
previous block, right? But you're writing it a
yeah,
different version. I mean, improved version, right?
yeah. And you wrote it already. So really the
Wow,
second
that's a
time
lot
will
of work.
not be that difficult. And really for a lot of people, believe me, I accompanied, I coached many people who were not, uh, well, I help people who are, we say in French, en situation d'illettrisme, illiterate or something like that. Means they
Mhm.
went through the school, but yeah, it was not good time. So they
Okay.
are very in bad situation. And really, the only thing, and the only thing I could do is let them realize writing could be their biggest pleasure in life, and
True. True.
then everybody becomes a writer.
You know what? Sometimes it's kind of you hit my point too. Sometimes I like writing when I was in school, even when I was, but at first you're just kind of resistant. Oh, it's a hard work. It's a hard. But strange enough, when you start writing, you're just
Yeah,
thinking and thinking, and you coming up. You think, oh, geez, I kind of caught up, and you don't notice the time, and you kind of you feel that kind of you proud what you put in sometimes, and it's actually does work. I mean, it's sometimes you surprise yourself. What coming out, you don't know. Sometimes that's not in your head. It's now, like you said, combination of your heart and the brain, and it's something different. And whatever comes up, oh, geez, I didn't know about this about myself, and that's what hits me. Sometimes this is true about writing. It's when you do the original writing and you write from your heart, and it's a brain together, and it's kind of the sometimes you surprise yourself with the results, right?
and and you are yourself, and you speak with your words, and among these people. Well, it's funny because in the beginning I told you me coaching res- well, CEO, whatever you want, but I have the other experience as well. And there was 20, maybe 30 years ago, one man, fantastic, who was in this illiterate situation, and well, he could not write. Really, that was too very difficult for him. But he learned to talk, to express, and to make like poetry. And believe me, what this man in the beginning, he could not talk. He thought whatever he said was not interesting and so on.
Hmm.
Whatever speech he made after some times, it's the highest poetry I ever heard.
Hmm.
Talking about that, I have tears coming really,
Hmm.
because every word was so exact, was so precise, was so deep, was so right. And he was a fantastic. Anybody who'd write what he said, you have a new poet, and
Hmm.
it's fantastic. So really, it's for everyone.
Hmm.
Just people need this coaching. And when I say people need the coaching, it's as well. CEOs sometimes, that people in illiterate situation, because a lot of people think they don't have the right. They think, well, this is for someone else. This is for their brother, their sister, their whatever mother, but not themselves. And it's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And when they talk with their words, when they talk their reality, when they talk, and it's always fascinating. It's
Yeah.
always great. It's a huge
Now,
human aspect. It's not only part of inbound marketing, which is true. Inbound marketing, you make fantastic content marketing and so on, and you write, and blogs are very important of that. It's true, but it's even from the, it's authentic.
yeah.
It's real, and in fact, this is what people are looking for. They have always looking for that, it seems,
Authenticity. They're looking for authenticity.
and for sure with this COVID time,
Yeah.
they are looking for that more than ever because they are needing sense,
Yeah.
meaning,
Yeah, that's a
truth.
social aspect as well. They want to
Yeah,
connect with you on a level. The one thing is, of course, our reader, I mean, our, say, blogly customers, for the most part, I would say this is the business website owners who want to bring the traffic. They not necessarily write like personal stuff or poems or the novels, even though we do have some also people who write books, and now they novelists, now they're picking up and they're looking at this and they want to use the blogly for the book, and I want to find out how it goes. I don't have yet the response. It's kind of interesting to see,
yeah, sure.
but it's not necessary you write a novel or say something personal. Even the technical blog, of course, it's kind of dry, right? But still, there's certain things that people notice that when you do, whether it's some sentences, whether it's something you put, because of course there could be numbers. Yeah, there's a traffic, this inbound or whatever, marketing stuff. But still, certain you could see the heart in it when you get to the certain sentences, certain expressions that let people know that you write in yourself or you put in your own thought into it. When you put in your own thought, it comes up genuine, and that gives a 10 times more value than any other stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
So talking about
definitely.
spinners, no more spinners, no spinners. That's a,
No,
stay away
no.
from spinners.
And you know, I would say even when we are, I speak as a CEO. When someone comes to me
Yeah.
uh, to say he's the best and so on, well, usually I'm of course not interested. And what is important is when you feel someone has something genuine, something special to give. And
Yeah.
we made it, it's funny, we made about I think it was 2002 study, and a friend in the university in Lausanne, Yves Emery, great man,
Mm-hmm.
made a study about
Mm-hmm.
employability,
Mm-hmm.
and he asked a lot of people about what are the profile you want to work with. And what is very interesting is that about a quarter, I think a quarter of answers say uh, it's not when someone fits the
Mm-hmm.
my needs, is that I meet that person and I'm immediately thinking, what need could I invent to work with that man? And it was a lot of people, and I think this is so important because the point is that uh, well, unless you are working with people who are special, not let's say special inabilities, but usually people have abilities and they have they are themselves, and it's with humans you're working.
Yeah.
uh, and I think this is going to enhance with the with especially with the AI. I see a lot of, really, believe me, what AI can do today and what they will do in 2021 is just crazy. It's crazy. The curve is exponential and so on.
Mm-hmm.
So every human uh, thinking he can work with only procedure and follow the line and so on, um, is of no interest.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so people have to understand that whoever they are, and very simple people, I mean simple
Yeah.
in the social aspect, we
Yeah.
understand they are very, very
Yeah.
rich
Yeah.
usually. Uh, their value is in who they are, and this
Yeah.
is what we will need
Yeah.
uh, more and more with the time coming.
Yeah. Agree.
So
Agree.
yeah, genuine, 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 and you insist on that
Oh, very much so.
in
Very much
Berkeley.
so.
I
So
think
it
it's
doesn't matter how hard it is. Doesn't matter how hard it is, because
yeah,
of course there is a lots of content out there. And you bring it in, then still okay. You trying to write, but if you try when you start writing, and again, uh, uh, when you put your heart, it comes up genuine. And now, when the people start reading, if they like it, of course, I mean logically, of course you're gonna get traffic. So you're gonna get more traffic, more people coming in to read. So what's the best? I mean, what kind of best outcome you can think of? When if you write, could maybe a personal blog, maybe technical blog, doesn't matter. You're writing it for one reason, of course, to
yeah,
be first of all to be noticed, to be express yourself, and not only that, of course, to build a business. You wanna build a business, you gotta write. If you write, if you're just simply spinning the content, is not gonna do any good. So forget about bringing the people in. So this is not gonna work. So the only one thing now, I think that time already coming up. But let me ask you now, what's the best few things? I mean, how Bloggly can help you, and the most, in the most, say, best results you can get from Bloggly. What's the biggest impact for you? I mean, what do you see the best in your workflow?
well, there are many aspects. There is what is
And I know
funny is
you are the
that
fan. I'm just asking because I know you are the fan. So I
yeah,
really
yeah,
appreciate it, and it's exciting for me because I'm glad to see people using it. I'm glad to see them. It's so humbling for me to really, really. I'm so happy just to hear that people love
yeah.
it. So
Well, yeah, really, for me, there are two things. The first idea was to use it for blogging, which is quite the idea. Uh, and many think, well, this structure helping is very good and so on.
mhm.
And the idea of just modifying within Bloggly and it modifies within the text, it's just something not specific, but it's very, very useful. But at the same time, we are writing a book now. We just began, and I told the two person I'm writing with, and I said to them, "We'll write with this because it really helps writing." The only thing for me missing up to now, but I'm sure it will come, is really let's say many hands on the same text. So
It's coming
giving
up. It's coming
ideas,
up.
adding things, notes, and things like that. And I think I cannot say it's really great. And the enhancements you want to put. So I decide to write a book on that, for example. So for me, it's just so chapters will be really chapters in it. What's more, there is another reason is that we wanted to make a book that is alive somewhere. It means
Mhm.
when we talked the first time about the book, I said it will be a book with a lot of QR code because I want to people to be able to take their phone and have videos and have uh, uh, developments. More recent, accurate developments, and so on. So I think for that, I just cannot dream better for me
Mhm.
than your application, the platform. So
No, thank you.
the question
Thank
I
you.
had, but I don't know, but probably it will be developed. I'm quite sure
So
for that.
you cannot imagine for now you don't see any. I mean, have you tried to use some other tools before?
Well, I'm working usually with Ulysse, which has that same kind of chapters, easy things. I I think I paid 3 years,
Ulysses,
and
you're
I'm
talking
not
Ulysses?
using that
Ulysses?
much. Hmm?
You're
Hmm?
talking Ulysses?
Ulysses. Yeah,
Ulysses. Yeah,
sorry.
I tried them before in the past.
Yeah, it's not bad. I used many. I have on my computer. I don't want to see it now, but I used a lot. I don't know why. They are quite all good, but I think I love this online aspect. And I don't know. Really, honestly, I don't know why, but I thought, okay, this one is good.
Do you wanna say it's addictive?
Maybe you put a trick in it,
Yeah.
but there is something good, really, and this the idea that we can add everything, uh, probably you will enhance even more. I think that that goes in the way I need and I want. And what's more, it's directly online. I think it's what I love. It means
Mm.
nowadays, uh, I love books, I have to say, but I never. It's been decades. People ask me to write books, and I said there are too many books. I don't want to add even one more. Maybe one more will be too much, and everything falls apart. And somewhere I prefer to have something online, even if I have more than 10,000 books on my
Mm.
flat. I'm afraid, but somewhere yeah, I believe in whatever the cost, because there is a cost, energetic cost on the online, but somewhere it's better because I think it lets people interact, it can be enhanced, it can be commented, and
Yeah.
I believe on that. I believe in dialogue.
Yeah.
I believe in dialogue.
Yeah.
I think I've always been afraid of writing something alone. It's 3 years ago, someone from I don't know,
Mm.
editorial, I don't know the word in English.
Yeah.
Well, let's say, someone with a printing book asked me about the book. And the first thing I made after, I was very happy. And after half an hour, I phoned to a lot of friends saying, we do it together. Because I think it's not good making things so alone, because, well, we learn to talk together. We
Yeah.
learn to talk with. I have a human language, and human language cannot be. You cannot speak or write alone on an island.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. So that's why I think that's probably one of the things I like with blogging.
Thank you.
Yeah, I
Thank
think
you.
I have to think why, but I think this is the main point.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. All right. I think we already come up. I mean, we're already on time. So we can wrap it
Good
up,
time.
and I think. Do you want to say? I mean, anything else you wanna say to say? Whoever will be listening, I hope that the people will get the points and they get the. Generally, I want to provide the help because I'm looking for the help myself, just like anybody else. I'm and say I will just keep improving and keep trying to make it better and better, and not just about software. Just it's about me because I want to write better. I want to do something that it's a constant improvement. So for me, and I guess especially I'm not the English native speaker. So for me, it's like yeah, it's even harder than for someone who was born here and always speaks. Yeah, for them it's easier to write. So for me, I gotta find some other advantages, organize better, or do this better, faster. So at least I could save time there. So that's how I was thinking when I was doing it. So
Yeah, it's
yeah.
good. It's good.
All right. Thank you, Francois. So
Thank you, Gennady,
I think we
so
put a
much.
lot of information in there, right?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. We
It was a
speak.
nice time. Thank you, and I'm looking forward to see all the enhancements you are dreaming
Oh,
about
definitely.
and
And by
let
the
your
way,
dream come true.
and by
Mhm.
the way, consider this enhancement, bringing this TLDR as a block. I definitely gonna do it, and I tell you that's your idea. I'll bring your idea in, and I
Very
definitely
happy.
gonna make it kind of interesting. So of course it's not gonna be enforced, but it will help, and I will put
Yeah,
this block up front. So definitely I will build it in. Of course, I have a bunch of other priorities now, but definitely will be there as soon as we'll get our hands there on them.
excellent.
Okay, all right. Thank you,
Thank you.
Francois. All right,
Thank you. It was my pleasure.
all right. My pleasure as well. Thank you.
So,
Yeah. Bye bye.
see you.
Bye.
Bye.
Mhm.